Preparing to live stream the meeting, which means that people will probably be able to see us, but we can't see you yet. So give me a second.
See you yet. So
here we go.
Second.
And that's me muting myself there. Right. So again, bear with me, just another switch of the screen. Right. Okay, here we are. Hi there. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolie Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet. And we have a great show in store for you today. And John is going to give us a little bit more of the details.
Thank you, Jolie. Yes, in fact, it was a Jolie Gabrielle inspired program today because something Jolie mentioned to me at the start of the week was very much about the Ho'oponopono prayer, which I know we have covered this before to some degree, but it was interesting because I didn't know the background and the details to it. And it sort of set me off to research this. And it really is interesting how, miracles seemingly happen. But obviously, as a left brainer, I didn't want to just leave it at the fact that, I needed to understand a little bit more from a scientific and a quantum perspective as to how could this be true. So I had did some digging around, which is why we have with us today Dr. Hew Len, who was the man who really raised the consciousness around Ho'oponopono with something that he did going back, and it was picked up by Joe Vitale, the author who wrote some major best-selling books. Zero Limits, that was it. Zero Limits was the book he wrote on this, and that was a best-selling book. And it really went into the background and details on this. And so we got Joe Vitale as well, and we also have Bruce Lipton, who brings more science into this, which is what I love about it, because it kind of helps us to balance out from a left brain point of view. Okay, well, it's all well and good, but how and why and all the rest of it. So we get to understand a little bit more about it. So this is what we are talking about today. And this prayer subject, it does interest me because, as a kid, used to do Sunday school and things like that because we had to. And, this prayer, I don't know whether I ever truly, really believed in it or whatever. But the more that I have researched things in recent years, the more you realize there's a very good reason why these exist. But it has to be done in a certain kind of way. And you have to understand what it is you're doing because it's a form of creation. But we do have to understand, and we've covered some of this before with Greg Braden's work as well. And he did, for instance, the gift of the blessing, which is another form of prayer about forgiveness and letting go and the ability to move forward and to understand a bigger picture. And that's always worth going back over because Greg Braden, as we know, is a pretty special kind of guy. But anyway, I think without further ado, we will leap into the first little section here of this. Well, I say little section. What I did, because I really wanted to get into into this, I did a little narrative piece myself as I was learning about Dr. Hew Len based off a blog that I saw that was written. I just kind of changed it around a little bit, but that is the basis for this whole program. So there's 7.5 minutes of that, and then there's another couple of minutes of Dr. Hew Len himself talking about this. So it gives an additional perspective. So, okay, Jolie, is there anything you want to add before we go into that first section?
I just find this to be such a special gift that's been given to us as humans, because as he goes into it deeper, you'll see why. And they always say simple is best, right? Or the simplest way to go is usually the right way. So let's take a look at this. This is fascinating.
Yeah, thank you, Jolie. And thank you for the inspiration for today. Right, here we go. Share screen. Give me a second. We will be live and dangerous. More than 30 years ago in Hawaii, at the Hawaii State Hospital, there was a special ward, a clinic for the mentally ill criminals. People who had committed extremely serious crimes were assigned there either because they had very deep mental disorder or because they needed to be checked to see if they were sane enough to stand trial. They had committed murder, rape, kidnapping, or other such crimes. According to a nurse that worked there in those years, the place was so bleak that not even the paint would stick to the walls. Everything was decaying, terrifying, repulsive. No day would pass without a patient inmate attacking another inmate or a member of the staff. People working there were so frightened that they had to walk close to the walls if they saw an inmate coming their way in a corridor, even though they were all shackled all the time. But more than once this wouldn't stop an aggression. The inmates would never be brought outside to get fresh air because of their relentless threatening attitude. The scarcity of staff was a chronic occurrence. Nurses, wardens, employees would prefer to be on sick leave most of the time in order not to confront such a depressive and dangerous environment. One day, a newly appointed clinical psychologist, Dr. Hew Len, arrived at the ward. The nurses rolled their eyes, bracing themselves for one more guy that was going to bug them with his new theories and proposals to fix the horrid situation, who would walk away as soon as things became unpleasant, usually around a month later. However, this new doctor wouldn't do anything like that. Actually, he didn't seem to be doing anything in particular, except just coming in and being always cheerful and smiling in a very natural, relaxed way. He wasn't even particularly early in arriving every morning. From time to time, he would ask for the files of the inmates. He never tried to see them personally, though. Apparently, he just sat in an office, looked at their files, and to members of the staff who showed an interest, he would tell them about a weird thing called Ho'oponopono. Little by little, things started to change in the hospital. One day, somebody would try again to paint those walls, and they actually stayed painted, making this environment more palatable. The gardens started being taken care of. Some tennis courts were repaired, and some prisoners that up until then would never have been allowed outside started playing tennis with the staff. Other prisoners would be allowed not to be shackled anymore, or would receive less heavy pharmacological drugs. More and more obtained permission to go outside unshackled without causing trouble to the hospital's employees. In the end, the atmosphere changed so much that the staff were not on sick leave anymore. Actually, more people than needed now worked there. Prisoners started to be released. Dr. Hew Len worked there for close to 4 years. In the end, there remained only a couple of inmates that were relocated somewhere else, and the clinic for the mentally insane criminals had to close. What did Dr. Hew Len do to the patients? How did he treat them that the results were so spectacular? He didn't do anything, not a thing to them, nor with them, except looking at their files. He only tried to heal himself, applying an old traditional community problem-solving system from Hawaii called Ho'oponopono, adapted to individuals by his teacher, his late Hawaiian sage, Nona Malamaku Simeona. And what was he doing to himself? In his own words, I was healing that part of me that created them. Actually, he used to sit in his office and look at the patient's files without pursuing them. He would feel something, a pain, and empathy. Then he started the healing on himself, taking full responsibility for what was going on with the given patient. That's how those people got better, because the doctor had the strange view that it was himself who needed the healing, not them. Ho'oponopono. Simply put, Ho'oponopono is based on the knowledge that anything that happens to you or that you can perceive, the entire world where you live is your creation, and thus it is entirely your responsibility. 100%, no exceptions. Your boss is a tyrant, it's your responsibility. Your children are not good students, it's your responsibility. There are wars and you feel bad because you're a good person, a pacifist. The war is your responsibility. You see that children around the world are hungry and malnourished, if not starving. Their want is your responsibility. No exceptions. Literally, the world is your world. It is your creation. As Dr. Hew Len points out, didn't you notice that whenever you experienced a problem, you are there? It's your responsibility doesn't mean it's your fault. It means that you are responsible for healing yourself in order to heal whatever or whoever it is that appears to you as the problem. It might sound crazy or just metaphorical that the world is your creation, but if you look carefully, you'll realize that whatever you call the world and perceive as the world is your world. It is your projection of your own mind. If you go to a party, you can see how, in the same place, with the same light, the same people, the same food, drink, music, and atmosphere, some will enjoy themselves while others will be bored. Some will be over-enthusiastic and some depressed. Some will be talkative and others will be silent. The out there, for every one of them, seems the same. But if one were to connect their brains to machines immediately, it would show how different areas of the brain would come alive, how different perceptions there are from one person to the next. So even if they apparently share it, the out there is not the same for them, let alone their inner world, their emotions. How do you heal yourself with Ho'oponopono? 3 steps. By recognizing that whatever comes to you is your creation, the outcome of bad memories buried in your mind, by regretting whatever errors of body, speech, and mind caused those bad memories, and by requesting divine intelligence within yourself to release those memories to set you free. Then, of course, you say thank you. There are seminars where they teach you many tricks to help this process, but according to Joe Vitale, Dr. Hew Len himself uses the simplest of all formulas from Ho'oponopono. Whenever a matter arises, and they arise incessantly, addressing the divine within you, you only have to say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. That we can obtain big things from Ho'oponopono has already been shown. The healing of an entire ward of insane criminals seems far more difficult a task than any of our personal troubles. There are, no doubt, piles of testimonies from practitioners. Dr. Hew Len says, however, this is not fast food. The cleaning of memories requires a lot of concentration and persistence and is an unending job. But the result is what he calls zero limits, a state where one is free from the past and suffused with divine intelligence and love.
The basic idea is that there are tragedies in our lives because we don't take a look at where the origin of the problem is. It's always in self. So the tragedy being in life is that we're clueless and we repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And so when I work at home, for example, when I worked at Hawaii State Hospital, working with people killed, raped, and murdered people, I had to ask the question, what is going on in me that I'm experiencing this? I'm experiencing a patient being violent, I'm experiencing staff going crazy, that sort of stuff. And so having to take 100% responsibility for that. What's going on in me that I'm creating this experience? And so I just do this cleaning, and the cleaning, the Ho'oponopono is about going into the self, and specifically into the subconscious, and where the data is, since everything is run by information. So the information in my subconscious is dictating to me what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. It's like in Shakespeare's Tempest, where Miranda says, oh, woe is me to see what I see. So Miranda has this insight that she's only seeing with data. And so it is with me, and so it is with all of you. And so I just work on the data in me that I experience as, quotes, the other person. But if I see you as being crazy and goofy, it's only my experience of you. If I erase that, you can't be that way. Not possible. And so that's what I mean to be 100% responsible. Being 100% responsible is taking responsibility for what is going on in you that you experience of whatever.
Ho'oponopono
Sorry about that. Just carried on a little bit too far with that one. Anyway, so yeah, fascinating stuff. So a ward full of mentally ill, violent criminals, and until Dr. Hew Len turned up, the place was just going from bad to worse. I mean, when you read about it, you realize this was a dreadful place to work. Hence, not a lot of people would just go off sick all the time, because it was better to do that than turn up and be faced with that energy and that atmosphere. So to be able to turn it around, but it is a miracle, but it was that you'd assume that to do that, you would do like the laying on of hands or something, where you are in direct contact with the client, where you are talking to them, where you are changing their mindset, say the same way you would imagine with a psychiatrist. But to actually not even meet the clients, to just be able to go into their energy by reading their files, and to, somehow use that as an ability to feel the feelings within you, and to be able to clean that, to be energetically able to clean it through literally the simplest of phrases. Okay, that 4 lines: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Okay, so but it is more than the words, right? It is actually getting into that emotional state in the first place, to understand a little of what's going on, feel that energy, and then reach out. And again, it still seems like a little bit too much of a miracle, because something that simple, and the fact that he's cleaning himself on behalf of the patients, right? And also not just that, but the whole environment, the entire environment. And there's a level of sensing that as well, because if we believe, as I do, that everything has consciousness, okay, everything, then it means that the ward itself has consciousness, the ward itself, and there is an energy being pulled down to get that where it can be turned around, where everything starts to elevate. And what he did was miraculous. And from there, he went on to teach. One of the things that I shared this with Joe earlier when I was reading about his work, and he went back to, is it Nona? I think it is his guru, his teacher, that he learned from in Hawaii in the first instance. And he would describe how he would go in and observe, and she would have had a client who might have flown into Hawaii from America to see her, to tackle a certain issue. And he said it was the weirdest thing, because what would happen is that the client would be in the room, Nona would come in, and she would sit herself on the chair. She wouldn't necessarily say an awful lot, if anything. And then she'd start to drift off, and she would, effectively lose consciousness. It was like she fell asleep sometimes for up to 2 hours. And at the outset, Dr. Hew Len was always thinking to himself, wow, this person's flown all this way and spent all this money, and all they're seeing is her fall asleep. So what he found truly remarkable, and he really woke him up to this, was that then she would come around and she would start to come out of that sleep state. And without fail, the client would look at her and say, thank you, that feels so much better. And the reason was because, much like Dr. Hew Len then learned to do with his patients at the hospital ward, she was effectively cleaning the energy. That's what she was doing, going into, as Jole said, that would be going into a theta state, which is something that Jole knows all about. So Jole, do you want to come in on this one?
Yes, absolutely. Because, in a sleep state, even while you're meditating, if you fall asleep, there are parts of us known as our higher self. We go through this. So letting go sometimes of preconceived notions of how healing looks. That's what Dr. Hew Len was able to do. Let go of some of these boundaries that we consider in the 3D world, and just get to the energy of it all, which is love. So tapping into that, and then taking ownership over some of the breaks in the love, and then asking your angels and guides to clean and remove that from you. And then say thank you for having gratitude. We know that underscores all positive transmutation. So it's a pretty fantastical and amazing place. And then once you get into this rhythm and this inner chanting, you move into working in the subconscious mind, which is the theta or the theta, as John calls it, which is like, and you get into that part, which is then the hardware of you being able to transform your energy, because the subconscious mind, as we say, would be the CPU, and the conscious mind is the monitor, right? So even though you're consciously doing these loops, these mistake loops, I like to call them, and we sit in them, you can get into this, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, as a prayer. You don't know where to start praying. You could just say this, and it's more powerful to say it silently, of course, but getting into that, and it creates a rhythm and a cadence, and then all your cells and then all your heartbeat, your body starts to move in this way. And then all of a sudden you have a whole new way of looking at things, perspective, doors are opening because you're sitting in this love, and it really works. It's true. So especially you cubicle warriors, those of you spend lots of times in your car, just saying this over and over in your mind throughout the day at any moment is so helpful. So just make this your consistent prayer. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm glad we brought this back up, because even I forgot about it, so to be reminded that this is a powerful tool with which to have with you every day in your happiness, joy, and amusement arsenal, to move up that pyramid towards, joy is at the top, love is under joy. So
yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, and it is about, as you say, it's about taking that responsibility. But he's taking
right.
responsibility for things
Yes.
that actually were not him as we would see it in our 3D world, right?
Yes, that's correct. And taking responsibility is not as daunting as it seems, because if you have the right energy, right, you're coming from where Hew Len came from. He took responsibility for these people that had been labeled and judged. And all of a sudden, through his curiosity and consistency in the principles of quantum mechanics, he transformed them.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the remarkable thing about it. And this is where we build on. And in fact, to your point,
Yes.
Jolie, talking about, repeating the mantra over and over and actually becoming, this Ho'oponopono, having that as part of the bedrock of your existence. This next section, right, that we're going to show with Joe Vitale.
One thing. We think about our show with Susan Grawl, right? And we think about the pyramid that she spoke about. Okay,
Yes.
you're going to have to go back and watch that. I can't do it right now. But the building of that. But you think about Ho'oponopono, that would be a great way to tap into asking your masters and your guides, hey, help me balance and fix my pyramid.
Yeah.
This in this lifetime, this is a great place to begin. I just want to lay that on the table.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because Susan talked about, this is when she was having a near-death experience at the age of 4.5 years old. And she was shown by the angels, and she was shown the pyramid that she intuitively knew where people represented people's lives. And there was a path being paved, which was a gold path that was being paved for people to follow. And it was people's job just to follow the path. But people were laying their own pavers by pulling them out the bottom of the pyramid. And when she asked what that was about, it says, well, people are supposed to follow the path, but they don't always know when they're on. But by asking, by going back to your guides, angels, masters, they will correct it for you. They will point you in the right direction through praying, through Ho'oponopono. So yeah, very good point, Jolie.
Yes, thank you for unpacking that for me.
Yeah, no, it's there. It's out there. Just 2 weeks ago that we did that.
Yeah. So like we can start putting these pieces together, right? And build
Yes.
like an arsenal of spiritual, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to say weapons, but spiritual, not protection, but love, in order for us to realign with our highest good and what it is we're here to do.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Fantastic. Okay. Right. So we go to Joe.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to just switch off my camera and stuff, and we are going to share screen, and off we go.
form as 4 phrases. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. That's it. So he's saying these 4 phrases inside himself as he's feeling the disturbance, the emotion, and he's saying them to his connection to what I'm now calling the great something. Dr. Hew Len would say to the divine. So you have an awareness of a higher power, name it whatever you like, and you're having this petition, this conversation, this prayer, where you're saying, in effect, I don't know where this emotion came from, but I'm feeling rage, and it's being triggered by this patient. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You can say them in any order. You typically don't say them out loud. I'm only doing it out loud so people know what I'm doing. You say them internally, silently, to your connection to the great something. I've learned to explain this a little bit more, so I'll give you 1 more minute of this. And that is the sense of when you're saying, for example, I'm sorry for being unconscious to the beliefs in me or my ancestors that may have attracted or created or manifested this experience. Please forgive me and my ancestors, my mindset, my epigenetics, anybody down my downline through history that helped create this experience. Thank you for healing it. Thank you for clearing it. Thank you for releasing it. Thank you for removing it from me and my ancestors. I love you for my life. I love you for my healing. I love you for clearing this. I love you for taking care of this matter. So the 4 phrases are kind of like a shorthand for a longer prayer or request. But it all comes down to, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you say it repeatedly. Now, I've been saying it as long as you've been having your magazine, so it's like 11 years. And at this point, it's my new self-talk. For most of us, we still have that little voice that criticizes us or condemns us or is negative. My self-talk is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. At some point along the way, it got rewired. And so I'm cleaning and clearing, even when I'm talking to you or I'm having lunch with somebody, part of my brain is doing, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It's just going on as a kind of ongoing clearing technique. And I have heard from everybody who have used this for everything. Relationships, finances, health, pet issues, people that were ill. I mentioned that my mother did die a couple years ago, but 5 years before that, we were called in because she was on her deathbed and she was in the ICU and we were saying goodbye. And I sat beside her doing Ho'oponopono on myself. And she got up and lived for the next 5 years. And in my mind, my clearing in that moment extended her lifespan.
And we're back. So yeah, Joe Vitale, best-selling author of Zero Limits. He was the one who spoke at some length with Dr. Hew Len himself to get under the skin of what was going on and how this actually worked. And it's fascinating because, again, it goes back to what Joe was talking about, is that self-talk, and cleaning and clearing constantly. And as Joe says, at some point he just reprogrammed himself. Like you kind of, for a while you don't remember, then you come back to it, then after a while it just becomes automatic. So rather than having that infiltrating negative talk that can come in from time to time, you're replacing it with something far more positive. But you're also cleaning the energy as you go. And it still sounds fantastical. It's still, out there as a miracle, which still requires a little bit more quantum mechanics to describe how and why this works. But, that is the next little section that we're going to have for you there. So, Joe, what would you care to add? Because I know you've read this book going back a while.
Yes, I was a big fan of this Joe Vitale. He has, and Bruce Lipton, but Joe has a meditation where he says it over and over again on YouTube, and you can listen to it. And I advise that because, especially if you're going through something very challenging or difficult, like I was at the time, this was really a stairway to get me to elevate my energy and to start really taking responsibility for some of the ways in which I was behaving, right? Which is what creates how your life is looking. And it's always a journey, you know? So this is definitely a companion to take with you, because taking full-blown responsibility for your life is more liberating, I've found, and more freeing than doing the ostrich that I so like to do in the past, you know, like
Right. Yeah.
to really deal with. And that also too is a journey, because sometimes you rob Peter to pay Paul. But when you're doing these things, what you're doing is you're beefing up yourself and Peter and Paul, right? So there is
Yes.
a lot to choose from and to grab from when you're thinking about more of a collective and collaborative energy, especially financially, because that's the place where most of us want to hold and contract. So I would really like to deal with some of that today in the meditation. So
Yeah.
that's my little part of it, is really getting the brain and the body to connect in a way that, like I said, will align us better with our purpose here on earth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And yeah, the meditation, I look forward to that because again, as a practice, right? This is the thing, is establishing it as a practice, not a one and done, but
Right.
it's kind of programming ourselves for something that is so much better,
Yes, absolutely.
so much more expansive, and so much more fun. So let's what we're going to do now, because this again, the questions that I still had in my mind is that, yeah, this is all well and good, but how does this add up from a quantum perspective, from a quantum mechanics perspective? Because we know there's a lot of scientific research out there that tells us that life is not what we thought it was if you go back, right? So there's got to be a way of adding this up. And as you said, Jolie, you know, as well as Dr. Joe Vitale, Dr. Bruce Lipton as well, as you know, as a cellular biologist and a genius at what he does, has discovered so much. So yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it can also, as we've seen, what is it doing? Is it changing DNA? Is it transforming ancestral energy? Did he speak about that in the video? So it's like the power's in our hands. And
Yes.
once we begin to see it, like, it's so important to see it. That's why we meditate. And for those of you that say, but I can't see, you can feel or you can hear. Those are usually the three things that we have hold of. So whichever way it's coming at you, let's say you're feeling the chills, or you have a heat flash, or there's a memory that pops in your mind that gives you a visceral, work with that.
Yeah.
That's where or you can hear things moving, whatever it is, dig deep into that area of your gift.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, actually. The ancestral things, as well as, you know, all the past lives you've lived, there's essences of that within your DNA. And
Yes.
we are carrying this through the lifetime, and that too can be cleansed where it is not serving us. So
Yes.
yeah, I
But
think
we always want to keep the consistency moving. And that is also a place that I lack, because sometimes when you're thinking about humans, we get this energy of, why bother? Nobody cares. Or, you know, you can really get into that. But in order to elevate the frequency and vibration, it takes that repetition, or as I like to call when I do my meditation into Mother Earth, right? She showed me this wood chipper, this person who is just chopping wood and just never stops. It's just chopping wood, chopping wood.
yeah.
And that is the energy of consistency, is
Yes.
what showed me. The wood chopper, you
I
know?
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
The Mother Earth meditations
Yeah.
that we've got into doing every week, and it's remarkable. I got to say that, you know, we will have to share one of those one day and do one live with the Elevated Planet
Yeah.
audience, because it is remarkable what comes through, Jolie, and the visuals, but the messages are always so deep and profound.
Yes. Yes. And so it's like symbolic of consistency is a man chopping wood. And I just, to me, that was fascinating. And it gave me kind of what I needed to, whenever I need consistency, go see the wood chopper. Go. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that sounds really weird, but
Well,
symbolically, it gets the cells doing something.
yeah, they say chop wood, carry water, right? That's life is
Yeah.
about that. You have to, yeah, you're on a spiritual journey, but you still chop wood, carry water. You still got to live life here in the physical.
Yes.
So
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jolie. Right, well, we are going to switch to your good friend, Mr. Bruce Lipton now, just to give us a little bit, 1 minute or less even, of what this is. And I love these. These such beautiful, succinct little pieces, but that just tells us so much. So bear with me a second. We're going to get Bruce.
There's no like particles, one separate from the other. Energy, it just is all mixed together. It's one harmonious thing. So if I'm made out of energy, which I am, does it mean that the edge of my energy stops right here? And the answer is no. In quantum mechanics, I'm an energy field. Wherever I go, I'm like a broadcasting an energy. I say, why is that relevant? Because wherever you are right now, you're broadcasting energy. And I say, well, why is that relevant? We're not physically together at all. But your energy is in the field just as much as a cell phone is in the field. My energy is in the field. And all of a sudden it says, well, wait a minute. We're all connected. Why? Because you cannot separate the energy. And so in a Newtonian world we grew up with, this is separate from this and that's separate from this. And I go, in a quantum mechanical world, nothing is separate. Everything is an energy field with no borders to it.
So there, that final comment there, Dr. Hew Len accepts responsibility and cleans his energy, seemingly for others, but there is no separation. He cleaned the energy for the quantum field. So, okay, let's just again put a little pause on that. Okay, so yeah, I this to me explains an awful lot because I'm going to share something with you here. I'm currently reading a book by a lady called Sarah Landon, and she is a channel. She is a channel for the council, as it is known, the wisdom of the council. Now, I don't know about you, but our local council here are not that wise. So this actually is coming from a much higher place. And it is, in fact, a group of ascended master beings. And when you listen to this, you kind of think, okay, it's like with all these things, whether, like you go back to Neil Donald Walsh's conversations with God and all the others, Lee Harris and the Z's, are they just making it up? Well, what you look at is the wisdom. How profound is the wisdom that they come out with? Would you expect a 3D mortal human to be able to come out with the things that they do in the way that they do it? And the answer is, to me, is definitely no. Now, again, always, we would encourage people to be discerning because there is as much disinformation as there is information, and you have to discern what is right for yourself. But do your own research and do it with an open mind. Because, one thing I've learned over the last 6+ years of deep research, life is not what we are taught in the way that we are programmed and conditioned to believe it to be. And once you start to look under the surface of it, you realize life is a lot more magnificent than we've been told. And we are a lot more magnificent. We are a lot more powerful. This is why we can come together to create our world of unspeakable beauty. And you look at a world filled with wars and violence and everything else that gets pushed our way, care of our mainstream media. And, there's a lot of stuff going on out there that a vast majority of it would rather not. But the fact is that we have the power to change things around. And it's part of this when you start to dig under the surface of these miracles like Ho'oponopono, and you realize, again, from what Bruce is saying, we are all energy fields. You are not able to separate energy waves. We're 99.99999% energy or light waves, and we're 0.0001% particles. So, the fact is we are pretty much energy waves out there, and energy doesn't end at one point and begin the next one, So it makes a lot more sense of it when Dr. Hew Len was simply reading files and he was effectively opening up his energy field. He was opening up his energy field to a broader energy field. And he was able to clean that. He was able to clean it just through the simple mantra, the prayer of, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It doesn't get much more simple than that. But as he said at the outset, it's actually, you know, it is something that you focus on and you concentrate. But again, as Dr. Joe Vitale said, you know, after a while, it just becomes automatic. You know, he finds himself doing it all the time now because, you know, it's made his life what it is now. And he's in a magnificent place. He's written, I think, 20 odd best-selling books and is out there teaching and helping people to understand, again, how powerful they are. And, you know, that's a wonderful work right there. So, yes. So, Sarah Landon, I was going to read you a little section from the Wisdom of the Council. This came to me today when I was just out there driving for a few minutes, and magically this little passage turned up. I thought, well, that's exactly what I needed to hear. From chapter 4, it says, and I'd put it into the first person, i.e. I'm talking about me, rather than the way it was written in the book. But everything I experience is an extension of my energy. It's all me. If I stay present in the moment, in my consciousness, I will realize that everything I perceive is my own energy. No one else controls my experience. Energy is different from consciousness, although there is a place where energy and consciousness are one. Other people are merely a reflection of me and my reality. I can perceive a consciousness that is different from my own. Everything is my energy. So that to me made sense. And there's more, a lot more. And we're gonna do a program on Sarah Landon's work because the wisdom that comes from the council, the ascended masters, is deep, profound, uplifting, joyous, all those things. And I believe real. Discernment, absolutely, by all means, but check it out for yourself. So anyway, having said that, Jolie, what would you care to add?
Just that, you know, that part of taking full responsibility and being able to look at your life and say, you know, I have my serenity, I'm liberated, but it takes time because of all of the energy that we've absorbed throughout the years that hasn't aligned with who we truly are. So a great big dose of gratitude and forgiveness is what's needed. That's like the gas to move us forward. So I'm looking forward to our shows where we're working with that book and moving more into understanding how powerful we are in all these different ways, different, you know, bits of light coming in, you know, at the simultaneously, so that we can just blast up in frequency and vibration. So this is fantastic. So yeah. I'm ready. You guys ready to meditate?
Right, yeah, no, that's it. It's that's exactly where we're heading for now. So this last little section, as we've done for the last few weeks, is just leading us into Jolie's meditation directly. So it's Dr. Hew Len that we've given the floor to for the last section, pre-meditation, and it only seems right and proper since he is the one from whom this has all spun outwards into more common knowledge. So whilst he did pass away a couple of years ago, our gratitude now on the other side of the veil to Dr. Hew Len, and his work lives on. So, okay, Jolie, we will go and run that final little section, and then I will hand over entirely to you.
A divine being at zero, you have enormous power by saying I love you. When you say I love you, it has three elements in it. Three important elements that you ought to be aware of and appreciate. First element is I'm sorry. When you say I love you, so sometimes when I have a back pain, if I'm on an airplane, I simply say I love you. So I'm talking to the divinity because I have something going on in me that creates this back pain. So I'm saying to divinity, I love you. And so now that love you, that is a petition. I'm saying to divinity, I'm sorry for whatever's going on in me that's not me, and I'm asking you to do whatever is right for me and for that. That's the first thing. The first element is repentance. I'm sorry. When you say I love you, you're saying I'm sorry for whatever is going on in me that's not me. And the other thing that you're saying is, please forgive me. So when you say I love you, you're talking about repentance and forgiveness. Every time you say I love you, every time you say I thank you, you're talking about, you're saying to divinity, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then divinity can only do, the next step is called transmutation or transformation. And that is to erase these memories and take you back to zero. You cannot do it. The conscious mind, the intellect, has no ability to come and erase that stuff, to transform that back to zero. It's the process of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and then allowing the divinity to erase. So only divinity can erase.
Take a deep breath in and exhale. As you put your feet flat on the floor, your palms face up on your thighs, and you close your eyes and begin to breathe with the rhythm of your body. For those of you laying down, put your feet flat on the floor for the first part of the meditation. And make sure you're sitting or laying someplace comfortably so that you can keep your back straight. Again, as you bring your awareness to the center of your chest, command your heartbeat to sync up with your breath. Bring your awareness to between your sit bones and command for your energy to ground itself into the core of Mother Earth, with a grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, connected to your first chakra, which is between your sit bones. You're going to open the bottoms of your feet like you would the lens of a camera. And gently, as your grounding cord gets rooted and establishes itself into the core of Mother Earth, you see it grow roots. And now you're going to call in 15% Earth energy of a color that resonates with you to pool into the bottoms of your feet and travel up the side channels of your legs. And as you let this happen, I want you to bring your awareness to the crown of your head and open the crown of your head like you would the lens of a camera and command 85% cosmic gold life force energy to come cascading down from the heavens, entering your crown, saturating the skull, and moving through those layers, the dura mater, the arachnoid, and the pia mater, the tissues between the skull and the brain, as it begins to saturate the brain, go into the folds, lighting up those neurons, those synapses, the ones that support and love you, closing down the ones that have been given to you that are negative, that have nothing to do with your energy field. And as they go, you say, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. And you let that resonate throughout your brain and your mind, hitting that pituitary and that pineal gland, uncalcifying that pineal gland with I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, as this gold light swishes through the brain, moving through those folds, and those neurons and those synapses are firing, as that energy then begins to focus its way down your spine, lighting up each vertebra, talking to those nerves and saying, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, as it moves down through the heart, into the heart, giving that energy of I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, as it moves down, down into the stomach, the liver, the kidney, the spleen, the low back, and the hips, mixing in with that earth energy as it begins to fill you up. That essence combining into 100% life force, life-giving, creative, loving energy is filling you up like water fills up a cup as it begins to gain momentum. And this momentum is moving throughout your body with the energy and the frequency of I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Moving up into your hips, let's let this energy focus into the lower back, as some of it goes down the grounding cord, but in the lower back, the L5, the S1, the sacrum, the coccyx, all of this, the acetabula, all of that energy eating away at any of the fear around finances, the fear around your life, the fear around making moves to manifest and move you forward. Eat away at the fear, the ancestral fear. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. As this energy is moving its way down your grounding cord, calling in those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles, blanketing the inside and the outside of your grounding cord, all the way down to the last hair on the root, cleaning any negativity, any of that past energy, anything you're ready to let go of and release, bringing your grounding cord into zero limits. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. As that earth energy mixes in with that golden life force energy, as it makes its way to your heart, moving all of the blood cells in your body into a heart-shaped, which then attach to each other, they collaborate to turn into heart-shaped infinities, moving throughout your body and your bloodstream and your organs and your systems, healing, bringing healing, transmutating energy into your body, moving out dis-ease and illness, bringing you into a state of zero, a place of creation, a place of etheric energy as it moves up into your neck, working out your hormones and your thyroids, bringing you into balance as it's moving back up into the center of your head and sprouting out your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layer. As you then pull your aura to be 1.5 feet around you, you call your higher self to a comfortable distance above your head, right in the center of that golden, beautiful oil that's coming down from the divine and filling you up. And that aura layer, as it comes into view, moving out any and all disease, illness, anything you're ready to let go of and release, moving all the way down into Mother Earth, becoming a part of her dirt and making the grass grow around you and the flowers sprout and the seeds are life-giving, bringing nutrients not only into your body, but into the world around you. As you transmute that negativity that you've been carrying into the seeds of life, because you're allowing for Mother Earth to recycle that energy as your higher self stands at that power position right above that aura layer. And this energy then begins to pulsate out with little electricities as your toroidal field starts to come into view, as that gold light begins to then saturate that golden light oil. It's like an oily light that just begins to saturate and cascade down. And that toroidal field is just sponging it up. It's just sponging all of this beautiful light. What color is your light? Is it pink? Is it green? Is it blue? What color is this beautiful light? Or is it all of them? Like you're just at a disco. It's just moving with joy and amusement. And this toroidal field then begins to light up that pyramid and that capstone that sits right above it, as it then starts to lock in to Mother Earth and those ley lines and that positive life force energy around you. And then that beautiful white light then beams itself down through Mother Earth, through the capstone, through your toroidal field, through the higher self, through the aura layer, and down through your crown, down through that spine, down through the grounding cord, down into Mother Earth. You are connected to the heavens and to the earth as this beautiful 15% earth energy, 85% cosmic gold, filled with the energy of I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, as that energy reverberates out into your aura layer, into your higher self, into your toroidal field, up through that capstone, and receiving all of that beautiful white light energy that Mother Earth and the divine has to give, healing you as this energy moves out through the front and the back of your heart and down into Mother Earth, lighting you up and sending love throughout your environment. Those chakras are clean, clear, and filled with gold light as you stack 7 golden suns above your head. And inside these 7 golden suns are I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, all throughout as this essence is cleaning out your chakras, moving through your field of energy, spreading love and healing, transmuting negative energy into positive energy as you bring those 7 golden suns down and let them extend and expand into your chakras, and bring one extra down and let it go down that grounding cord as those beautiful golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles fall away into the core of Mother Earth, turning into positive creative life force energy for anyone to use. See this visualization all the way down to the very last hair on the root, and see that golden sun saturate this grounding cord, bringing it into the present moment point of power, as this energy then reverberates up, 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 up through your body and out into your aura layer, and that gold light off the aura layer, that electricity is lighting up that toroidal field and that capstone and that higher self locked into Mother Earth as that beautiful energy and life force is sprouting out of you. And that beautiful beam of white light goes through you. You are perfect right now as you are aligned with your highest good. So take a deep breath in and exhale. As all of this energy is moving through your body, I want you to say in your mind, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and keep saying these words as you see them take on life throughout your body, healing all your organs and your cells. And that energy moves out into your aura layer, healing your relationships, healing your job, healing your finances. As that moves out to the higher self, giving this holographic, beautiful being of creation instructions as to aligning with your purpose as it moves that energy out into your toroidal field, and it gives that message to that beautiful pyramid above your head, which is transmuting that to your masters and your guides who are working with Mother Earth to heal you and transmute you and align you with your purpose. As you take a deep breath in and you hold it, and then you let go and you close the bottoms of your feet like you would the lens of a camera, and you see that earth energy recede back into Mother Earth. You close your hands like you would the lens of a camera and your crown, and you see that gold light recede back into the heavens, but that white beam of light stays exactly where it is, beaming that energy down through you and into Mother Earth, aligning you with your purpose and your intuition. As all of that beautiful energy settles in, that electricity from your aura to your toroidal field to Mother Earth stays, as well as that grounding cord. And if your heart was open, go ahead and gently, gently close it as that energy still reverberates throughout your energy field and out into Mother Earth. And there's this beautiful energy of infinity, the love going out and the love coming back in, love going out and the love coming back in. Take another deep breath in, exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Jolie. That was
Thank you.
fantastic. Yeah, I felt that.
Good, good, good.
Perfect way, to round this off. So thank you so much. And there's a practice there, and miracles waiting to happen. It's not just Dr. Hew Len who can do this stuff. We can help ourselves and help out the world around us because we can accept responsibility for it, and we can transmute it into we can erase it, go back to that zero limits, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. It was such a joy to do this. And I'm very grateful to for this opportunity, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we do have celebration going on today, actually, which I kind of realized we turned 3 years old this very week.
Yay. Congratulations to
Yeah,
Elevated Planet.
yes, we're out of the terrible twos. We've now moved into the threes.
Yes.
So yeah, and as I keep trying to remember to say now, if you enjoy these meditations, if you enjoy the program, do give us a like and do drop us
Yes.
comments. Valuable every time, and we'll always come back to you and answer you as well. So please do so. But yeah, you'll see on the newsletter which goes out tomorrow, it's edition 1 of year 4. So now we are truly 3 years old, and yeah. That's basically what we've got. And if you've got any email, if you want to email me because you want to join our distribution list, or you have comments or anything that you want to share with us, then just email me at johndrew@elevatedplanet.life, and I will make sure we respond to that. Other than that, Jolie, would you say we're done?
Yes. Yes, we are. Thank you so much to our community, and have a great week.
Yes, I'll second that. Thank you very much for being with us, and we love you, and we will see you next week. So till then.